Have you ever felt that you need to improve your business sale, but you hate selling? Then this episode of Experts on Purpose is for you. Hey there, welcome to this brand new episode of Experts on Purpose. The special guest we have today is Roshni Baronia. Roshni is a sales consultant and coach for women entrepreneurs. She is a certified strategic sales expert and podcast launch strategist, enabling solopreneurs and small business owners to become high impact entrepreneurs. She is the host of the podcast Ace the Sales, which is encouraging and equipping women entrepreneurs with selling skills, strategies, and mindset that helps them sell more and grow more. Roshni has been listed in the top 20 most promising women consultants of 2020 by Consultant Review magazine. Hi, Roshni. Welcome to Experts on Purpose.
Hi, Jyotsna. Thanks for having me on your show, and a very warm welcome and hello to the listeners of Experts on Purpose.
Thank you so much. Ever since I came on your podcast and had that conversation with you, I wanted to have you back on my show because I know you have such a rich experience, and it needs to be shared with more people. So I would love to know
Thanks so
a
much.
little bit more about your journey because you are a fashion designer from NIFT, which, by the way, for those of you who are not familiar, it's the most prestigious fashion design school in India. So from there, how did you become a sales consultant and coach? Like, how
Oh,
was your the
yes.
initial years of identifying that sales is your thing?
Yes. A great walk down the memory lane to start with, Jyotsna, this conversation. So, yes, I did my professional studies in fashion design because in those days, I had more of a creative instinct, creative bent of mind, and I was a lot into sketching and painting. So, everyone around me suggested that you should go into fashion design. It is a very creative and upcoming field, and
Mm.
this is we are talking about 2000 and 2001. So right after my graduation, I went to NIFT and did my design studies. So my first business actually was around that field
Oh, is it okay?
of designing and manufacturing products, gifting products, personalized products for kids. I had my
Mhm.
own manufacturing unit, e-commerce business, and I was doing that for 6 years. And it was actually during those years that I was also interacting a lot with women entrepreneurs. Communities of women were coming up in Gurgaon, where I
Mm.
reside. And over the period of my conversations and interactions with these women entrepreneurs, there was one particular pattern that I was observing with all of them,
Mhm.
that while everyone had the aspiration to grow a business, not necessarily everyone had the acumen to do so.
Right.
And since I come from a business background, my father is a serial entrepreneur. Strategic thinking and growing a business from scratch to scale comes easily to me, naturally to me.
Mm.
so
You would
so
have seen
that's
him do
when,
it several times, right?
yeah,
Mm.
like uh, every 3 to 4 years he was also into a new business. And
Okay.
that's something which came very easily to me. I've seen it every day.
Mhm.
So how to grow a business, how to like manage the cash flow, and all those things come easily to me. And so yeah, that was one thing that I observed, that how is it that I can help these women. I mean,
Mm.
I'm growing my business, but how is it that I can help them grow their business also.
Mm.
So that's when I moved into consulting, but
Right.
specifically how sales. Because again, before getting into consulting, I asked a lot of peers, did a bit of survey to understand what is it that they need, and
Mm.
everyone came back and answered that I want to grow my sales, but I do not like selling. So that became my sweet spot
Right.
as to where I can work and help them. And that's how I got into sales coaching and consulting.
This is so amazing because I feel it's so important sometimes to ask your target clients what they want. And you've done that through a survey, right? And not many people do that because we think that we know our target clients really well. We think that we already know their pain points. And that's why we assume something and we create before even asking them. But it's really nice that you actually asked them and you identified that this could be the gap because they want sales, but they don't like it. And that's why they're not doing it enough. So that's the problem in their business, right?
Exactly. And in sales also, there is a huge umbrella and plethora of things one needs to do, from technical to personal to skill based to strategic thinking based. There are a lot many things, but how to create your niche and expertise in one or two particular areas so that you are able to help your clients more in a more targeted manner. Uh, Having one-to-one conversation with your ideal client is very necessary. So before getting into the sales consulting space, I did have those conversations.
Right. So before going more into sales, I want to ask a little bit about you as a mom. So I know you have a teenage son now, but I read somewhere that when he was about 7 years old, that's when you took a plunge into entrepreneurship. So is that when you started your sales consulting?
No, this was my first business.
Oh, the very first
in
business.
2009. Yes.
Okay. So you took a small break while he was young and then you got
Yes.
back as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Okay. Was that like tough for you because, being a stay-at-home mom for a long time and then starting a business?
Oh, yes. It was a constant struggle. The early years where you are grappling with that mommy guilt. So, in spite of the fact that I wanted to have a business which allowed me to have flexibility, allowed me to come back during lunchtime when he's coming back from school and be there for him, still, there were many occasions when I was not there, and it used to kill me that why am I doing this? But then ultimately, I had to take a very rational viewpoint of how I am spending quality time with him. And then how I am being present at my work or wherever I'm going in terms of my business need. So that was a very thought through and very conscious awareness I had to bring into myself. Otherwise, I was constantly struggling with this mommy guilt.
Yeah.
And he was 7 years old. Yes, he was able to manage himself. But then again, there are so many things that children need from you as a mother at that point of time as well. But yeah, initial 1 to 1.5 years, I struggled a lot between making time for my child and for business. But yeah, eventually it was something that I had to make peace with.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I'm sure every mom faces this problem. Some people voice it out, some people just have that guilt and they go through that suffering. I went through the same thing as well. But what you said really makes sense. It's not important that we spend 24 hours with them every day, but the quality of time that we spend is more important than the quantity. And also, when you have a business of your own, it's up to you to bring flexibility in the business so that you can do both. But in a traditional job, you can't expect that. Companies expect you to work as per their schedule. But since this is your own business, you can kind of create that flexibility, right? That's, I think, a huge advantage.
Yes. That really helped. Having my own business really helped in enabling me to balance out my personal needs and my professional needs. However, this is also a very a dreamy thing that entrepreneurs get into when launching into entrepreneurship, that they can be their own boss, have total control over their time. But yes, entrepreneurship is again 24/7.
True.
But because it is, you are so passionate as an entrepreneur, loving what you do, that you are not able to take yourself out of the business, especially if you are a first time entrepreneur and you are starting out in a business. It is very difficult for you to have that clarity of when you are going to stop yourself from working on your business.
Exactly. Unless we are conscious about that, we are going to get more burnt out in the business than, being in a full-time job.
Absolutely.
Right. So once you identified that you really wanted to help these women entrepreneurs with sales, did you go through some kind of preparation on yourself? Because for you, probably entrepreneurship and sales come naturally. But did you always have that confidence that I can now don the hat of a coach, or did you have to yourself go through some kind of?
No. I did take on a professional certification in strategic sales management because yes, it is something inbuilt in me that I have to be thorough with something which I'm getting myself into, not because of some credential or some tag or some certificate to be displayed on the wall, but to fully know that what I am getting into. And if I am calling myself an expert into it, I very well need to understand each and every aspect of whatever I am going out there and helping people with, or teaching or talking about. So yes, I did my certification in strategic sales, and then of course it was a lot about understanding what people are struggling with, getting hands on into what are their struggles, what are their pain areas, where they are getting stuck in the entire sales process. So even though in the certification and in the course there were a lot many things, then I had to really customize and curate my offerings according to what this specific group of women business owners were facing challenges with. So that's how I had to curate my services. But it was a struggle because I came from a product-based digital business, and coming into services B2B business was an entirely different game. I mean, I was coming from products. I didn't know how to sell services or package them or price them. So that was actually a learning curve for myself. But yet it did take 1.5 years to again identify and come down to a specific niche of that I'm working as a sales coach and consultant for women business owners who are into services. So this is all a very
evolving
drilled down,
process,
narrowed
right?
down process that you come across over a period of time.
Correct. You can't just get everything right on the first day itself. It keeps
you cannot
evolving.
get right. Yes, in the first
And a lot
day.
of people keep waiting till they get everything sorted before starting. But only when you start, you actually realize how it can be made better over a period of time.
When customer tells you the best, if you think that this is the one particular product package that I think is the best for my customer, but probably the market doesn't need it. So your market tells, be very, very open and keep your ears open to what your customer is telling you. For example, in my first business, which was into personalized products, I started out as a soft furnishings business, and we were doing room decor. And over a period of time, our customers started demanding small little gift items also and stationery items also. And then we pivoted from a soft furnishing brand to a gifting brand. Only because our customers was wanting to have it. So if you are listening to your customers, you will be able to build a better business.
True. And when you were working for your sales coaching business, were your most of the clients in your network, were they into services, which is why you chose to coach them on services, or because you have a primarily product based background, right? So because of the nature of the clientele, you chose to focus on that?
Yes, because of my network, because of, again, the certification that I did, it was predominantly for professional services or service-based products. So that's what I started out and still am helping people with, who are into B2B space, B2B selling products or services, essentially professional services.
Correct. So one thing I've noticed, which really works well for all the successful entrepreneurs like yourself, Roshni, is you have your own life experiences and expertise, but that's great. But then you also went ahead and did some self-learning and certification and all of that, which will actually, make you more confident on your own skills, and you can tweak it to make your own. So I think that is a good middle path, because some people totally rely on their skills and they don't want to know, what are the things that they're missing out. They don't want to follow any structure and they just go by their gut feeling. On the other hand, there are other people who have absolutely no life experience. They just want to suddenly become a coach. They just take up a 2-month program and they get a certificate, and now they want to start a practice. So there is no customization there. There is no tweaking to be a right fit for their audience. So I think that also doesn't work. So when you already have your expertise and then it's supported by a certification and then you make it your own by adding your magic to it, that's what really makes it a result driven thing for your clients also, right?
Absolutely. So rightly said, Jyotsna, that when you are working as a coach, especially, or a consultant, or for that matter, any business solution you are providing to your clients, your own life experiences and who you are is what adds uniqueness to your business solution.
Yeah.
And the way I see sales is probably not what someone else is seeing. So, for example, most of the podcast or business leaders or sales leaders across are into B2B corporate selling space. But when I talk about sales, it is more from the lens of a small business owner or a solopreneur or a women business owner, because that is something which I have experienced. That is a challenge women are facing.
Right.
So when you bring your, of course, expertise and certification, but also add the layer of your personal experiences to your work, that is what becomes your USP.
Absolutely. So now when you're talking to your potential clients, Roshni, do they actually understand that they need to be coached for sales? Because they know that money and revenue is a problem. They know that sales is not really happening. But are they really aware that they need a coach who can mentor them and improve their sales process?
So I think in the coaching space, I will say it is still something which we are seeing an upturn, specifically if we are talking about the Indian market. So in the Indian market, still sales is limited to sales training or consulting. Coaching per se is not something which people are going into asking or looking for a sales coach. Mostly business coaches or sales trainers are filling in that gap. But fortunately, since I work with a very specific and a niche group, I am able to educate them and I'm able to make them understand the importance of sales coaching.
Right. So how
Be
do you
it through my
differentiate?
interactions, be it through my podcast.
Yeah.
And that's why when now people talk to me, especially my target audience, which is the women business owners, then they are able to understand that, yes, I need a coach. I need a coach who can help me grow my sales. And why I need to grow my sales, what is coming in the way? It is because firstly, my mindset is what I have to work with, then my selling style, and then the strategies, and then the skills. So this entire spectrum is what they are able to understand because of the conversations I'm able to have with them.
Nice. So how do you typically differentiate between a sales consultant who does training for the sales team and a sales coach who works directly with the entrepreneur?
Yeah. So, as a sales consultant, it is a lot about strategies and the process, and also team mentoring and getting the productivity right for the sales leader or the business owner or the team as such. So, systems, strategies, and process work at the core of the consulting work that I do. When it comes to coaching, it is more about the person, their worldview about selling, how they see themselves when they are wearing the seller hat, how comfortable they are with the idea of selling, and are they able to embrace it. So then we work a lot on their personal beliefs, their limiting beliefs, and a lot around their skills per se.
True.
So
So
mindset
maybe,
and skills take the center stage.
all right. So when you're donning the role of a sales coach, you're probably working with a solopreneur or or a small business owner. But when you're a sales consultant, you probably work with a mid-sized company that already has a team or something like that.
Exactly. That's the difference, because consulting is for the entire business, but the coaching is for the business
Individual.
owner.
So which is more fun according to you?
Well, fun is coaching, money is in consulting.
That's why you're doing both, right?
Yes.
True. So I saw somewhere that you first go and identify the root cause of the sales problem. So how is your approach once you decide to work with a an entrepreneur one on one? What are certain things that you look at, and I'm sure that is the uniqueness that you bring in, right? Which is so different from
Yes.
what other people will be doing. So what are some of the things
Yes.
you do to identify the problem and provide them a solution?
So we typically follow a framework because, of course, consultants love frameworks and processes and
Yeah.
steps. So yes, firstly, we do the audit, which
Mm-hmm.
is like taking the assessment of where we are, the baseline assessment of where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then bringing in the alignment where we communicate with the stakeholders that this is what we have observed, these are the observations, these are the gap areas, and this is how we are intending to solve them. So
Mm-hmm.
that becomes our insights or suggestions to the stakeholders that this is what needs to be done. And once that alignment is done between them and what we are presenting to them, then we get into the action stage, which
Mm.
is the coming up of the strategy development or making of the process transformation that we are planning for the organization, whatever it is, and working with the team or the sales leader, whatever solution we are presenting to them in terms of bridging the gap in the strategy process or performance. So whether it needs coaching of the sales leader, whether it
Mm.
needs training of the team, or whether it needs one-on-one mentoring, whatever the solution is.
Right.
And then comes the accountability, which is on a continuous basis. We then review our work and
Mm.
maybe on a quarterly basis, maybe on a monthly basis, depending on the scope of work that we have engaged in. So we continuously review that how
Mhm.
the implementation is going,
Yeah.
how the team is performing, are the targets being met? If not, what is the problem?
Mm.
So though that four A's that we follow:
Right.
audit, alignment, action, and accountability.
Nice. I also love frameworks, though, a lot of things, come only when you implement it, but it's nice to work within a framework, right?
Exactly. It gives a lot of clarity, and for
Mm.
the client also it makes sense because they know what the next step is. Otherwise, they are
Exactly.
in a blank space as to what is going on. So every
Yeah.
time they will be in an anxiety or questioning stage that what is happening, what is happening. But they know the framework, they know the next step or how it is moving.
Correct. So over the years, Roshni, has your ideal client avatar also evolved? Like before, you would work with any type of sales-based entrepreneur. So today, do you have any specific ideal clients, like specific industries or types of businesses?
So yes, it of course at the start, like it is for most business owners, more the merrier. Anything and everything, whatever comes, it is good. But
Mm.
as a result of which I observed that since I have the expertise, of course I can do anything and everything,
Mm.
but it takes an immense amount of effort and time for me to give them that solution. So
Right.
every customized solutions needs or requires me also to go have a learning curve or
Mm.
to do something new or to
Yeah.
customize my solutions. So now over a period of time, I have now, uh, you can say, productized my services
Mm.
as well.
Yeah.
In terms of now I specialize in account based marketing
Mm-hmm.
and 90-day predictable growth system. So those are the areas that I work with in terms of my offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of client avatar, yes, again, like I said, it was earlier across diverse industries,
Mm.
but now I am predominantly focusing on healthcare, education, and technology.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Otherwise, for every client, you have to revamp your entire process, and that would
Exactly.
pull down your efficiency. It's better to have a specific kind of client for whom you can give better results.
Exactly.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, have you noticed any difference in the way people are doing sales? And as a result, did you have to tweak your teachings in any way, if at all anything has changed during the pandemic?
So, of course, one very visible change has been the advent of digital selling.
Yeah.
Not that businesses weren't doing it earlier, also. Yes, they were doing it, especially businesses who were doing business across geographies. For them, digital selling was the norm. But for those who were not doing it across borders, still they had to adopt this digital mode of selling, having client conversations through Zoom or through video or through camera, which was very, very new for people who were in the mid-level management stage also in the companies. Even CEOs, I have worked with CEOs also, and they had a difficult time being in front of camera all the time, with their team also, with their stakeholders also, and then with the clients also. Because salespeople traditionally are so much in-person kind of people, and they are always out there in the field kind of people. So it was very difficult for them to transition into the digital space. But I think now that the norm has become digital selling, I think people and sales leaders have adjusted quite well to it. And I think it is more productive also, because rather than traveling 1 hour and then waiting in the lounge area and then having a 2 hour meeting, beating around the bush, things are much more productive and very to the point and agenda based. So better outcomes are being seen when people had adopted to digital mode of selling.
Right. Could you give a couple of tips to our listeners, viewers who are now completely into the digital way of selling? So anything that they should keep in mind to just I know they have to probably invest lots of time to develop their selling skills, but any quick takeaways that you would like to give people to just improve on the digital side of selling at least?
Yeah, I think even before getting to the point of skills, it is about value proposition, how well you are articulating your value proposition. After all, why should anyone spend those 30 minutes talking to you?
Right.
So that is very, very important when you are reaching out to your ideal client or your articulation of value proposition is very important. And the second important thing is being very comfortable with the camera. Because still many people, you see in group meetings or networking meetings, people still have their videos off. Of course, you can be very comfortable keeping your video off, but it is when you switch on your video, you are able to connect with people. And when you do that, your buyer is obviously pushed to put their video on as well. And that's when you are at least able to have one level more connection.
Yeah.
So that is one thing again which people need to get comfortable with.
So true. We used to do that mistake before, Roshni, even with our own team meetings. It always used to be online only, but we all used to turn off the camera. Then I felt it doesn't make any sense because we need that bond and connection, and there is no way we are going to meet in person for a while. So now everybody is super comfortable, and I've noticed the same with clients also, because they are also doing businesses with other people, right? So everybody is kind of comfortable. So developing that comfort in front of the camera is, I think, a very important skill. And the value proposition that you mentioned, that is also really I think the foundation of doing a sales conversation, because somebody should really understand why they should be spending their 30 minutes with you instead of doing something else. So a lot of times people do not mention that explicitly on their website as to why should you book this 30-minute discovery call or whatever. So I think is something that is super valuable. So, Roshni, any final thoughts that you would like to share with our listeners who probably have expertise in any kind of field, but maybe they have that burning desire, maybe they are moms who have other responsibilities, and something is stopping them from taking that next step and launching their expertise into a proper business. So what would be your advice to them?
Oh, that's such a sweet question. That yes, this is a place where which captures my soft heart, my love that women should get into entrepreneurship, because it's the best tool for them to unleash their potential and talent. And more than that, it gives a sense of dignity and
Mm.
control to them. So it is very important for them to get into entrepreneurship. And I understand that getting started is the hardest.
Yeah.
But my suggestion to them is, don't start with big goals. Don't start with I will be Falguni Nair on day one. Take baby steps, take very small steps,
Mm.
and give yourself the permission to make mistakes and learn from them, and grow from there. Nothing will come to an end. People are very, very acceptable to new ideas. We are in the best age
Yeah.
of doing business. So nothing will fall apart. Your world won't crumble by doing a mistake. Get started, do mistakes, learn on the way, and grow your business.
Awesome. Thank you for those reassuring words, Roshni, because sometimes we feel that, oh my God, if I make a mistake, if my business fails, then that's the end of the world. And that fear stops a lot of people from getting started. And your advice is very counterintuitive, and it's really practical, because most, these self-help gurus say that set crazily big goals, and it should be like audacious goals, and that actually scares a lot of people. But what you're saying is really practical, because your goals can be small, and once you reach that level, then you set a higher goal, right? So it's really sensible. Thank you for that.
Exactly. Welcome.
So where can our listeners find out more about you if they want to check out your work, if they want to reach out to you to work with you? Where can they go and find out, and maybe also listen to our podcast episode that we did together?
Oh, yes, definitely. So, yes, your listeners can find me on this very podcast listening app that they are listening, Experts on Purpose. So, they can hop on to Ace the Sales and have a listen there. Otherwise, they can find me at roshnibaronia.com and on all social media handles as Roshni Baronia. But my preferred channel is LinkedIn. But yeah, I'm available anyway.
Perfect. Thank you so much once again for coming on Experts on Purpose.
Thank you for inviting me.